a bird singing. It could be a jet flying. It's different to everybody.
I mean, music is universal. It usually gets anyone's attention just the fact they hear something.
It's self-expression. I think music is an expression, whether you're a performer or whether you're a consumer of it. So just sit out here on South Drive for a while and listen to what people are blasting from their car as they turn the corner. They want everyone to know.
Yeah.
You know, here's what I got going on, right?
Yeah.
And that's a form of expression, and those people are very proud and feel very strongly about what it is. People that are performers of music are expressing themselves in a different way, but it's the same sort of thing. So I think that's very important. I know that's the case, having taught from elementary to college, and I've taught elementary, junior high, high school, college, and it's always been the same thing.
The first thing is, what type of music do you listen to?
I would say, just based on what you see here, my preference is punk rock.
All right.
Yeah,
Yes.
old school punk rock
All right.
from the 80s, kind of
I
hardcore.
grew up with that. I can really
Yeah.
go with you on that one. Now, how has it affected you?
Oh
Socially.
my gosh. Well, I'd say, I mean, and I don't mean to exaggerate, but punk rock changed my life, you know what I mean? Honestly, the music that I listened to that before was like really dark and just really negative. It felt often very satanic even, like really dark heavy metal kind of stuff. And then I got into punk rock because the speed of death metal kind of mirrored the same thing as, you know, punk rock, and so I just kind of made that transition. And so, I mean, punk rock to me, it's just, there was a whole type of worldview of being politically engaged, emotionally present, and I don't know if I can name a third off the top of my head, but those two things at least
So part of the
appealed to
movement.
me. And then yeah, all of a sudden I felt like I was part of a group that was you know, really inclusive, and I identified with that outsider status, but in being that outsider of you know, in a group of outsiders, I was a part of a whole still. So it affects me big time, I'd say.
But socially, I mean, overall, I mean, because I know
Well-
punk rock, you might have had a mohawk or
Right, no.
or dyed your hair
Well,
back then
that's
or
interesting.
something. And that was
That's
really
very interesting.
That was a very taboo thing at that point.
Well, as a matter of fact, I got kicked out of high school for having a mohawk. You know, I wanted to represent, right? I'm this punk rock kid, so I had a mohawk and I went to school, and I got booted instantly. That was back, they've changed the rules at Modesto High apparently, but totally kicked out. I mean, I would walk down the streets of Modesto in the 80s getting spit on, yelled at, all kinds of stuff that it was not acceptable, you know, at all. Punk rock had not hit the mainstream at all. But at the same time, I was also playing music in a punk rock band, so I had, you know, a support system, if you will, and an outlet that, you know, I wasn't just getting, you know, harassed on the outside by the hillbillies of Modesto and just nowhere to go except my room. I had an outlet for it in playing music, so it wasn't like some sort of depressing state. I mean, it was just another reason to say kind of, you know, fuck off to everybody that was trying to, like, you know, talk down to me.
Okay, so emotionally it made you stronger then, emotionally?
I would say absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, well that's good. Now intellectually, especially with playing music, how do you feel that really has affected you in a good way or a bad way?
I think in a great way. It kind of coincided. I mean, I got into punk rock before college, but it was good in that going into college, you know, it kind of opens up your whole world view, right? I know that I had a pretty limited worldview when I listened to like heavy metal and stuff like that, and just the topics that they sing about were just not very inspiring, or just about getting girls or being demonic or, you know, whatever, you know, kind of limiting and not very enlightening, quite frankly. Whereas the punk rock that I listened to was either, like I said before, politically oriented, politically engaging, talking about issues that, you know, don't even make the news, for instance, or just talking about even being positive. I mean, some of the straight edge punk rock bands talk about stuff that's a lot more inspiring than just partying, you know, and it has a little bit more substance to it that I felt like, you know, I can engage with this. And, you know, a lot of that stuff, while some heavy metal stuff might be inspired by literature, it just made me want to read more and get more involved and get active in the community and do stuff to make change, you know, whereas listening to heavy metal, I just wanted to get loaded and get drunk, you know. I mean, and I'm not saying there's a cause and effect relationship there necessarily, like listen to heavy metal and you're bad and listen to punk rock and you're good.
Yeah, A-Town, yeah, São Paulo, from them young bloods with my homegirl Cherish, yeah, A-Town, yeah, don't be though, you got you one here, player.
Like I tell my students, if you're 15 years of age and you're listening to a certain type of music, I can guarantee you that you will not be listening to that music when you're 55 years of age. And they go, but I don't like this classical stuff. You probably will someday. Just as when you're 15, do you listen to the same songs you did when you were 5? No, you don't. If you do, there's something wrong, okay? And so you will change, you'll grow, and you'll mature in terms of your artistic tastes, all right?
So you think it's more of a learning process of developing your
well, if you
music
talk, no, I see
intellectual?
you have down here intellectually, and
Yeah.
certainly we hope, you know, we go to college to take that God-given intellect that we have and to nurture it and to help it develop and grow. So hopefully, as we grow as students, you're still not doing the same kind of classes as a collegiate student that you did when you were in 4th grade. Neither should you be listening to the same kind of music as a 30-year-old that you did when you were 13 years old, you see. So music has that ability to also help you intellectually grow. Because if you're going to stay stagnant and listen to nursery rhymes like you did when you were a child, which nursery rhymes are a great vehicle for teaching memory. I know I have an 18-month-old grandson, and we put on Comcast a kids channel they have every day playing. And at 18 months old, this little boy is already, when he hears little folk songs like row, row, row your boat, he's already doing hand signs to that, okay? That's why McDonald's uses jingles. McDonald's, I think, is one of the great, I mean, I don't like the food, but I mean, it's one of the great teachers. I mean, if you just would say, you deserve a break today, so get up and get away to McDonald's. That wouldn't do anything for people. But you put that melody with it, and it suddenly means something, and every kid can sing it. And you don't even need the words. You suddenly go bum 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 bum. McDonald's. They know it. They didn't have to hear the words. Why? Because there's that relationship between what we sing and say to melody. There's that relationship. Intellectually, what does that do? It's a lot easier to learn for a young child a poem, set to music than it is to just say, okay, Johnny, go home now and I want you to memorize this poem. Or